All right, today we're going to talk about something that's honestly a must-know for every physician assistant student out there. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And trust me, this isn't just some dusty old psych concept. Understanding this is absolutely key for your growth as a clinician and maybe most importantly, for keeping your patients safe. So let's dive right in. Okay, so picture this. You've just pulled off your first solo procedure. Maybe it was a tricky suture or a perfect nerve block. You feel incredible, right? Like you're on top of the world thinking, yeah, I got this. But what if, and just hear me out, what if that amazing feeling of confidence is actually a giant red flag? Yeah, that initial high, we're going to call that the confidence trap. In this first part, let's really dig into why that early sense of, hey, I'm a master at this, can be so incredibly misleading. What is actually going on inside our heads? So here's the official breakdown. It all goes back to 1999, when two psychologists, David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger, found this really wild paradox. What they saw was that in a whole bunch of different areas, the people who were, well, the worst at something were the ones who were the most confident they were great at it. The people who need the most help are literally the least likely to know it. Dunning and Kruger had a great name for this. They called it the double curse. And here's why. It's not just that you're making mistakes. That's part one. The second part, the real kicker, is that the very same skills you need to be good at something are the skills you need to realize you're not good at it. I mean, think about it. If you don't actually know the right way to do something, how in the world are you supposed to know you're doing it the wrong way? So this whole idea brings us to a journey that pretty much every single medical trainee goes on, whether they know it or not. We can actually take this Dunning-Kruger effect and lay it right on top of the path a clinician's confidence takes as they develop. It's fascinating. So when we look at how a trainee's confidence develops, it's not a straight line upwards. No way. It's more like a roller coaster, honestly. And this journey usually has three really distinct stages that you're probably going to experience. Let's break them down. Okay, so first up, we have what some people kind of hilariously call Mount Stupid. This is that exact moment we talked about earlier. That amazing high after you nail your first procedure. You've got a little bit of knowledge, and man, it feels like you've got a lot of knowledge. You're just totally unaware of the huge, complex mountain of information that's still ahead of you. It's the classic you don't know what you don't know situation. And then you hit point B, the valley of despair. And yeah, it's about as fun as it sounds. This is that really humbling, sometimes kind of painful moment where reality just smacks you in the face. You've been on your rotations, you've seen more, and suddenly, you get a glimpse of the true scope of medicine. You realize just how much you have to learn, and boom, your confidence just craters. Now, this part feels awful, I'm not gonna lie, but it is maybe the most important, most critical step you'll take on the path to becoming a real expert. Okay, so once you're through the valley, you finally start the slow, steady climb up what we call the slope of earned confidence. This is the good part. This is where you build real, solid confidence. Your confidence comes back, but this time it's different. It's not built on air. It's grounded in actual experience. And here's the funny thing. This new, earned confidence is usually way more humble. It almost never gets back to that crazy high peak you were on at the very beginning. Okay, so why are we talking about all this? Why does this matter so much for you as a future PA? Well, because when you're in a clinical setting, this isn't just about your feelings or your ego. The Dunning-Kruger effect has real-world, tangible, and sometimes pretty scary dangers for patients and for you as a provider. You see this on both sides, right? For patients, maybe they do a little Googling and suddenly they feel like they know more than their PA, which can lead to some really bad health choices. But for us, for the providers, the danger's even more direct. Overconfidence, that can lead to misdiagnosing someone. It can make us blow off important feedback from a preceptor or a colleague. Or it can mean we're using some fancy new piece of tech without actually understanding its limitations. And look, this is not just some psychological theory. This is backed by serious research. The National Institutes of Health is super clear on this. There's this quote from a 2008 study by Berner and Graeber that just says it all. Physician overconfidence isn't just a personality quirk. It has been linked to diagnostic errors. It is a direct threat to patient safety, period. Okay, I know that sounds a little intimidating, but here's the really good news. This is a bias you can actually manage. You can fight back against it. The whole goal is to spend as little time as possible on Mount Stupid and to turn that valley of despair into a super productive learning opportunity. So, how do we do that? Let's get into the strategies. Your single most powerful weapon against the Dunning-Kruger effect is something called metacognition. That's a fancy word, but all it really means is thinking about your own thinking. It's that ability to kind of step outside of yourself for a second and look at your own thought process. It's that little voice in your head that asks, wait a minute, am I really sure about this? What if I'm wrong here? What am I not seeing? So how do you actually build up that metacognitive muscle? Well, first things first, you have to actively go out and seek feedback from your faculty, your preceptors, your peers, even your patients. And don't just listen to it, compare what they say to how you think you're doing. Next, you have to embrace what we call intellectual humility. Treat it like a superpower. It just means you're committed to always be learning. And finally, and this one is huge, make it a habit. The second you feel that surge of, I've totally got this, that is your trigger. That is the exact moment to pause, take a breath, and question everything. So to bring this all home, I want to leave you with a challenge, a call to action. Don't just nod along and say, oh, that's interesting. I want you to actually apply it right now. Think about this. What is one single area that you are going to seek honest, objective feedback on this week? Seriously, think of one. Because answering that question, that's your first real step up that slope of earned confidence.